Welcome back to 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to CoVA Sports TV and interact with us wherever you are tuned in. We have a special guest with us. He is the head football coach of the Warhill Lions, who have been rolling down the stretch. They started out 2-2, had a couple of tough ones out of the chute with Lafayette and Smithfield, but they have been rolling here with 6 straight wins to close out the year, 48-12 over Gloucester, 8-2, and they have the number 3 seed locked up coming up in the Region 4A playoffs as they'll be taking on the Smithfield Packers. We say hello to Coach Jerome Rhodes. Coach, how you been? Happy postseason. It's here.
Pretty good here. Appreciate you guys, Coach Young, and good to talk with you guys, Coach Hatfield. You guys, we're excited about where we are right now. Excited about our kids and our coaches and the work that they're doing. It was a rocky start for us there, at the beginning of the season, but the second half, going 5-0. We're pretty excited about that. But you never know what you're gonna get with young guys. We got a bunch of young guys out there. But shout out to all of my seniors there. We only got 5 of them. 4 of them on the field there right now, but we're excited about where we are.
Wow, 5 seniors. So I remember a couple years back, you guys got to the regional finals. You played Phoebus. You had a really great senior team that helped you hoist the Bay Rivers District trophy and had that type of year. But you were young a season ago, and this year you felt like you were improving, making that climb. At what point did you feel like there was a turning point for your season? We had on Tyler Noe earlier from Cox, and it was actually, in a lot of ways, we felt like a loss to Green Run when they held them to no points in the second half. For you, was it, you had the bye week, before the bye week, after the bye week, or was it not until that Pocosin win that you grabbed 35-28 back on October 17th that really springboarded you guys?
Yeah, it's all about playing to your potential, executing, and our kids just weren't doing that. And you never know when, what you're going to get with young guys. We got, a team full of sophomores. We got some juniors, but for the most part, we got a very young team. I mean, our starting 5 now are all sophomores minus 1 junior at the center spot. We got a sophomore at the receiver spot, now at the quarterback. We got a junior out at the receiver spot. So you just never know what you're going to get. So, we found a way to try to, focus up in practice and work on execution. We felt like we could be a great football team, and our record really doesn't reflect how good we really are. And hopefully, we'll be able to do that. We'll show that going into in the playoffs.
Ed?
Coach, welcome coming on here. And I got to be careful what I say because, you're playing the school that I work at and coach at, so I got to be careful what I say. And also, a good buddy of mine, longtime friend, former assistant with me, Paul Hall, is one of your guys on your side of the fence over there too. So, and tell him, make sure that he keeps letting you use those basketball players because I know how he does. He wants everybody for himself. So let him know that.
Yeah, he's not stingy. Coach Hall he's not stingy. He's a great guy. He's been a great addition to the Warhill community. So certainly appreciate you guys lending him over and letting him come over and help us out.
Yeah, he's been one of my all-time faves, and like I said, he was my first assistant when I got the River job, and I realized real quick he was a head coach before, and I knew he was going to be a head coach sooner or later because I ain't gonna keep him forever. I think I had him for like 10 years, and then he's proven. Went to Western Branch, beat my butt, and now he's at Warhill, and I got to play him now. So here we go, and he's laughing about it. But
excellent. He's excellent. He is excellent. Fantastic.
Yeah, he does a really tremendous job. The coach, you had that sluggish start, and as Matt alluded to, you did fix it. Were there any major position changes that maybe you did? I know it's probably harp on a lot about. It's just a lot of young guys. We got to wait till they mature. The system is working for. But did you make any? Sometimes we don't ask coaches this, position shifts that. Hey, I'm glad we did that. That was big, or it wasn't really needed.
Well, here was the position change. At the beginning of the season, we had 6 starters out. They were hurt. We were hurt. We were beat up pretty bad at the beginning of the season. We lost a guy in the Lafayette game who was a starter and we went on to play in the next game. We were in the first half of the season, we had a lot of guys out. So what we did, which I felt was pretty genius by our individual coaches, Coach Price, Coach Moker, Coach Burke, Coach Jackson, Coach McCauley, all those guys here on the varsity staff. Coach Powell, they decided to take those guys that were hurt and put them back on the field. And it made a big difference in the play in the second half. So we're of course in this part of the season we lost some guys, but we're just a little more healthy now.
Ed?
And also, Coach, I've asked Coach Snow before this when he came on, is there a guy that has done a great job, a kind of maybe unsung job, and that you didn't really think much about him at the beginning of the year, but then, in your staff meetings, you're all saying, boy, if we had this guy's come through, thank God he has. Is there a player or two that you can mention that's saying that he's really come through for you?
Yeah, there's actually two of them. I did not. Well, he's a great kid, and I know coaches say this all the time about certain kids on their team, but it's true. Ryan Klein does a fantastic job for us on both sides of the ball with no statistics. He plays a Z position for us. It's like a fullback, H-back type of kid, and then of course he plays every linebacker spot on the defensive side of the ball, and he gets really ticked off at the coaches for taking him off the field. He's a senior. And then if you got 11 guys like Ryan Klein, you can win a state championship. He's won. I was expecting to get that kind of leadership and play from him. But it was another kid, Caden Scales is doing a good job for us on the defensive side of the ball and even at the tight end spot that, I didn't necessarily expect for him to have that kind of year that he's having for us. But, Braden Turns, I mean, and these are seniors. These are seniors that, were a part of what sort of the 5-5, 5-6 year we had last year. And they were a part of that 12-1 team that we had, when they were sophomores. So they got the feeling of what it's like to win, and they got the feeling of what it's like to, to come up short. And they did a great job of stepping up, and, Thomas Black and Logan Brown and, all of our seniors, they've done a good job, but particularly Ryan Klein is one guy that, you can't miss on. You get, like I said, you get 11 of those guys, you got a state championship.
Yeah, Klein's certainly the unsung hero for you in so many ways. Definitely see all district honors in the Bay Rivers and perhaps all region accolades in his future. We're chatting with Jerome Rhodes. He's the head football coach of the Warhill Lions, 8-2 on the year, 6 straight wins as they get ready for their playoff matchup in Region 4A against the Smithfield Packers. It's a rematch of a game they lost earlier this season. It's the 3-6 matchup in 4A where you also have Hampton hosting Manor, Phoebus hosting Churchland, and Lafayette hosting Denby. Coach Rhodes is our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Tell us more about Braden Turns, because he's coming off that you just beat Gloucester 48-12 to close out the season, but the game before that against Tad that you won 36-14. I mean, he was really impressive. Saw some footage, 16 rushes, 194 yards, couple scores, had like 10 tackles, 2 sacks. Really one of the more underrated two-way players in the area, isn't he?
He is, and he's an animal. The kid. He's been telling us, he said it last year to us. He said, Coach, I can run the ball, because he was at the Z spot for us last year. And he said, I can run the ball. I can run the ball. I said, okay, we're going to give you a shot at it this year. And he did. And he's come out, man. He's been playing like, lights out, hair on fire. And this kid is flying around the football on the defensive side. And we didn't even start him out there on the defense. We just let him play the running back spot at the tailback. And he's done a great job for us there. But then he stepped over on the defensive side. He's like, I can do it, Coach. I'm fine. I can play it. Because we typically like to keep our running backs sort of fresh on the offensive side of the ball. But, he's a senior. You don't want to hold seniors back. And he stepped up here on the defensive side. And he doesn't want to come off the field. And I just told him, I said, look, guess what? You're not coming off the field on defense. You're going to stay out there. And the kid is, he's been making plays for us, on both sides of the ball. But particularly, it's really helped us out on the defensive side of the ball. He's shown up and filled a spot, a void that, we really needed on the defensive side.
Now, I know cliche it is sometimes when we throw it to coaches about it's a new season, that didn't matter, but I'm sure there's a lot of extra motivation and anger, if you will, from your guys because you lost to Smithfield the last time you played them 32-29 back on September 19th. Tell me about that game and how much you pay attention to what happened in that previous encounter for this upcoming rematch, or do you try to throw out so much of it because that was so long ago and we're a different team now, they're a different team now?
Yeah, well, we're throwing that out. That's they're different. We're different. Coach Parker does a fantastic job with Smithfield. I tell you what, those guys, you can tell They're well coached. Smithfield did a great job against us in the first game, and I'm sure they're going to do a great job here in this game. And we're going to get our all. But those kids are well coached over in Smithfield, and so and I don't feel like it is, of course it's a new season because after this one, if you don't win, you go home. But we should always, and I tell the kids all the time, we're going to prepare well enough to beat the best team on our schedule. Like that's the way you have to play every single week. You do that, you beat the best team on your schedule that night, and you continue to play. So that's sort of our mentality there when it comes to the in any part of the season. But playing Smithfield again, we're of course we're very familiar with each other. But Coach Parker and I go back to the Peninsula District as well. So we've been playing against each other for a while. Holly, I respect him wholeheartedly and the work that he's done. We're excited to be playing a great football team. I don't like playing teams that aren't very good, that aren't well coached. It makes us better as people, as players, when we play really good talent. And Smithfield has some talented guys, and they got a talented coach, and we're excited to be playing them again.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you guys were winning that game late, was it? They got the kickoff, and then did they kick a field goal or score? I forget how it transpired at the end of that game.
Yeah, well, we had issues kicking that whole night. We had issues
Okay.
kicking, and they got great field position. And this is not to take anything away from Smithfield at all. They did exactly what they needed to do to beat us. And it's like I said, it's less about our opponents and more about us and executing. But we didn't play well. We didn't do a good job in the kicking game. We didn't do a good job on our special teams, and they got great field position and they capitalized on it. And we had young guys out there. We had a freshman at free safety that was sort of his first start. And they took advantage of our free safety. And then we had our both our inside linebackers were out, and they took advantage of that as well. Which I don't not take anything from them, but we didn't play well, and it's that's on us. We gotta play better. But late in that game, yeah, we were up, and then they put one. They had great field position and threw one deep down the middle where our free safety wasn't, and they capitalized on it. They scored, and we had the ball with about a minute, 11 seconds left, and we couldn't move it from our own. I believe we were on our own 10-yard line, and we couldn't move the ball.
Well, the Lions are playing a lot better right now. As Carson Strickland and Braden Turns, Ryan Klein and company, helping them average 35.4 points per game, allowing just 15.1 per contest as they're taking a 6-game winning streak into the postseason at 8-2 overall before the matchup with the Packers of Smithfield in the regional quarterfinals here in 4A. Our guest, Coach Jerome Rhodes, on 757 Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. One more before I let Ed jump back in here. Have we gotten a time yet or date of that game? Because, like I mentioned earlier during the break, Lafayette also plays at 1, or they're slated to play against Denby. Do you guys have any clarity to that picture there? Or?
Yeah, we're likely to play Thursday. Thursday
Okay.
looks like the day that we will play. Being that Lafayette is the higher seed, so they get Friday. They're going to get the preferential, so they get Friday. So we're likely to play Thursday.
Okay. I like that. It gives me a chance to maybe see a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday playoff first round. I'm all for that. It gets my vote. So, Ed?
Yeah.
Now, Coach, the thing I wanted to, and you might already answered it too. You played Smithfield, and now you get to play them again. And of course, you said throw that game out. But in your staff meetings, in your staff viewing a video, do you look at maybe what went wrong in a loss to a team that you're going to play in the playoffs, or do you spend more time on, okay, here's what we did good in that game, or is it more in tune to strictly what you're doing at this point?
Well, yeah, it's more about us. The system that and this is just for coaches and any coach, it doesn't matter. The system that you're running should, on the offensive defensive side of the ball, or even your special teams, what you're doing, should be able to give you an opportunity to go compete against anybody and what they do. Like if you're coaching it well enough, it shouldn't matter what they do. Of course, then it comes down to your Jimmys and your Joes. But as far as execution wise, how you're teaching it and the kids receiving that teaching and coaching, that's going to determine the success on that football field. And we feel like, if we go out there and we have a good week of practice and we take care of our opponents on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if we are playing Thursday, then we should be able to take care of our opponent on Thursday. What happens in practice will manifest itself in the game. And that's on us as coaches to see, what we were successful at, what worked and what didn't, and then go into into that competition, with the best opportunity to win. That's on the coaches. So it's less about, our opponent. We just got to play, as you tell, we play well enough to beat the best team on our schedule, operating within the system and the way that we're coached to do it. We should be fine. It's about us. We can beat officials. We can beat that team. We can't beat ourselves. So we go out there and we put ourselves in the middle of it, and not playing the way that we're, according to our expectations and our execution, and then of course we'll find ourselves on the losing end. But we can win against officials, because our officials are people too. They make mistakes, and we got to be able to. They're part of the game, so we got to be able to play through the officials and play through our opponents. So it's about us and our execution.
I love it. I love it. Before we let you run here, we thank you for the time here this morning with us on CoVA Sports TV. Give me your perspective of the other games in Region 4A, your region with Lafayette and Denby and Phoebus, Churchland, Hampton Manor. Sort of strange to see Phoebus not on the one line, huh? After 4 consecutive state championships, the Hampton Crabbers have been playing really well, but your region's got a lot of balance and a lot of quality football.
Yeah, what I see is Hampton is the number one team in the region right now. And I'm not ashamed to put that out there. They look great. I watched them on tape. I see that they're coaching. I mean, the quarterback does a great job. They got a good offensive line. I mean, they attack on the defensive side. They look like the best team in the region. They look great. I've seen Churchland play, and they look exceptionally well. Very aggressive, violent players up front. They got a great quarterback. And of course we play Lafayette. They're always well coached, disciplined, and they do what they do. And it's you got to line up and stop it. But Hampton is the team to beat. They are a very well coached team with a lot of talent, and and it's not that I'm not familiar with Hampton. I mean, played against Hampton for 15 years in the Peninsula District, and those kids they play football at a different level. And I'm not ashamed to say that as well. They love football. They're a different breed. They're going to go out there and compete for 48 minutes. They won't stop regardless of the score. They're going to compete. So I see Hampton as as the number one team, and they rightfully should have that spot. It's the number one team in 4A. They're very good. They're well coached, and I hope we make it to the opportunity to compete against them. We competed against them maybe about I think it was about 2020 2021 I was, and we played, and it was an honor to play Coach Smith again from the Bay Rivers. We played him in the playoffs to semifinals to go into the region championship game. But it was great playing Hampton. I always like playing Hampton. They're, like I said, they're a storied program. They're traditional winning. So they're the number one team in 4A.
And for those that don't know, and Ed, Coach Rhodes cut his teeth in the Peninsula District with the Woodside Wolverines and Danny Dodson for many a year, so he's used to some of those battles. Woodside also being part of that conversation with Hampton and Phoebus for so many years there in the early 2000s to 2010s, if you will.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had our battles with Phoebus and Hampton, and we were able to come out on top of those, a few times, and we won. I believe it was 2011. We went 10-0 and won the Peninsula District, which was, and we were that team actually. Well, Phoebus had the two had a winning streak then. It was a 52 game winning streak that we were able to, take them out. But Coach Blunt does a great job there, and I said I could see Phoebus easily ending up back on, back up there on top. He does a great job. But it's I've always been, like Coach Dotson. It's always been great to play in the Peninsula at that time. We always saw great competition between Hampton, Bethel, Phoebus, and even when Kickerton had the Mayo brothers there, and it was loaded. It was the Peninsula District was loaded. So it was always great to go out there and compete every week in the Peninsula District. Helped me, coming over to the Bay Rivers, where there's great coaching up and down the board here in the Bay Rivers. So I certainly appreciate those battles. But if you don't mind, I'd like to give a shout out to my coaches, because they're doing a great job. For us, Coach Price, who's been, he was over in the Peninsula District with me. He was the offensive coordinator at the time with Coach Dotson. Coach Price, he does coordinate for us. He's a fantastic job, a genius, and has coached some really good quarterbacks for us. And he's got another one in Carson, and now has to break another one in. But because he coached Aaron Evans and Tyler and some of the other guys, that Donnell Lewis. He was the architect behind those guys, and he's here with me now, and he's doing a great job. Coach McCauley, who came over, he was the head football coach for New Kent. He's got the offensive line for us now, so and he's doing a fantastic job. Coach Jackson, as our defensive back receivers, he's doing a great job. Coach Bird, can't forget, he's always been here at Warhill and a mainstay here at Warhill, taking care of the defensive line with Coach Powell. That's and Coach Moker takes care of the running backs here for us. So we at the varsity level, and I certainly appreciate them and all of our JV coaches, Coach Farron, Coach Bowman, Coach Richards, who's doing a good job for us there. And I hope I didn't miss anybody, but I appreciate all of my the guys that are helping out. These are great, fantastic men that do a good job for our kids.
That's great. And final words, Ed, you're not going to get your head shaved if Warhill wins this game, though, are you? You're not doing it. Yeah, he's staying away from that proclamation, Coach Rhodes.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. That's all right. But they will. I do got to get with you there, Coach Young, because I know that I always like to talk to great minds, just to talk about coaching and see what pick your brain a little bit about what it is now to coach these kids. It's always tough.
Well, I tell you, I'm not to highlight me, but I am so grateful to be back on the sidelines after a year off. Believe it or not, it drove me crazy because a lot of my friends and that were saying, "Man, you have put a lot of great years in. You got the 500 win. Why don't you just sit back and enjoy it?" I said, "Because I didn't go out the way I want to. I just feel I still have something to offer these kids, and it's an uphill battle at Smithfield because we got a lot of youngsters and graduate 10 seniors. But I'm enjoying every single day of it. Even when the kid asked me the other day." We're working on a spread offense. And I said, when we get that third or fourth pass, you have a shot. It's open shot. You can hit it. You can shoot the ball. Coach, I have one question. I said, what is it? What basket do I shoot at? I knew I was back in it, but it was a little different.
So, yeah, that's a big wow.
See, Hall don't have these things. He don't have to worry about stuff like that at Warhill. He has the second best recruiting class in the district.
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
So he's good. But now, Coach, you know what? Like I said, I do enjoy it. I can learn from everybody. I don't care what your sport is, young or old.
Right.
It keeps me going in here. And I always the questions I try to ask when I'm on here is it's not so much just to put it out there. I'm actually trying to learn myself in terms of how you work with your staff, how do you delegate to your staff and all that. So appreciate what you're doing in the business too. And I want to wish you luck.
But he doesn't.
I can't because it's Smithfield, man. I got to have, Tracy and I shared an office in Nez River for years, and I learned a lot from Tracy, too, and some of his exploits back when he was playing and all that, too. But, if you get by Smithfield, I definitely wish you all the luck in the world. But right now, I'm going to lean my luck towards Smithfield, but I'm sure you understand.
Well, look, if I could ask you this here, Coach, because I said I got you on here right now. Y'all got me on, so I may as well ask the Coach. Just one thing that you do to get the buy-in, from your program. What is it that one thing that you do to get the buy-in from your players and parents?
Well, I try to take what the kids can do and see if I can use it in my system. My system is what players I would have. I can't just say we're going to be a running team and we're throwing the ball out the window all the time. We can't run them. We got to do something different. Over the years, being the old school coach that I am, we'll go over stuff. We'll go through it. I always tell my coaches, do not expect or get on somebody something we haven't taught them. I don't care how easy or simple it is. If it's a left-hand layup, then we haven't taught it, then don't get on it. Now we teach it. We bring them through it. Now we hold them to it. And the secret of all that is I simply say to them, I always have a chair in practice. I said, do you want to be out here or do you want to sit on that chair during the game? Which one do you want to do? And so far, I think that's part of my success all these years. They kind of like to stay on the field or on the court in my eyes. So that's as simple as I can say it.
As long as you don't throw the chair like Bobby Knight, you're in good shape. As long as you don't throw the chair, just don't throw the chair.
I've never done it. This guy wants to see me get teched and thrown out of every game. I instigate stuff with the officials when I'm there. But, Coach, I've only had like 6 technicals in my career, never been thrown out of a game. So this guy just wants to see me fail, but I'm okay. I'm trying to get through the program with them. I deflect a lot of stuff that comes towards him. So he's a good dude.
Well, Coach, we thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on the program today. All the best to you. I'll wish you luck, even though Ed can't. And by the way, if I pick you to win and Ed picks the Packers, it just helps me get a 1-game lead if you take care of business. So that's all that matters to me in my world of predictions. After I caught him last night, he had the regular season lead on me for much of the season. But in all seriousness, another great job by you and your staff and your kids. Enjoy the postseason run, and we'll talk again soon.
No, I appreciate y'all. Shout out to y'all for all the love y'all have for sport.
You got it. Thank you, Coach. That is
Good
Jerome
luck to you,
Rhodes,
though,
the head
good luck.
football
I will
coach.
say good luck to you. If you get by Smithfield, I wish you all the luck in the world. Knock them all off.
There you go. Thank you, Coach. That's Jerome Rhodes with us, the head football coach of the Warhill Lions, our guest on 757 Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. We'll come back with more right here on CoVA Sports TV, including the brackets for classes 2 and class